Kadosh, Boker Or, Masechet Zevachim, Daf Yomi, Daf Kavdala, Damudala 24A1, says the Gemara. We were just speaking about that it's going to be two Pesukim coming to teach you the same concept, whether it's talking about Mechusar Begadim, lacking clothing, or the Pasuk of Shtuye Yain, where they drank wine, and therefore you cannot teach it to something else. So I cannot learn Mitabide Shamayim, which is death from heaven, for anything else other than those two Pesukim. Because since you have two Pesukim, which is the same penalty, and it's dafka teaching on those two, so I cannot learn something else from them. But as the Gemara, but according to the Mandama Melamdim, you can learn from it. So then it's a third pasuk by Shtuye Yain, and therefore Shlishi Divrei Kol Melamdim, they're not going to learn it, right? Fine. Says the two dots. This is where we're starting now. Omed al gabe kaliv al gabe raglecha v'lo pasul. If you have a kohen that he's on top of a utensil or on top of an animal, or on top of his friend's feet, it's also posel lavoda, pasul. Menalan, how do we know this? So says the Gemara Tanim Mishmael, hoil v'ritzpa mekudeshet, since the ground is holy, ukle sharet mekachim, and the holy utensils are holy, right? Makli sharet, just like the kli sharet, there cannot be a chatzitza. There cannot be a pasek. Yeah, you can make a chatzitza. Chatzitza, you know what a chatzitza is? A divider, right? A division.
Interposition.
Thank you very much. That's a very fancy word. An interposition, right, between benol and akli, between the kohen and the utensil. So to the ritzvah, there cannot be a chatzitza, an interposition, right, between the kohen and the ground. He has to be on the ground. Yeah, my son, you have to be on the ground. Yeah, don't be flying. Yeah, yeah. Some people they like to fly. Yeah, very good. So he comes and he says like this, utzricha, and we need it. Why? Why do we need all these different chatzitzot? Do we have a chatzitza in the keli? Chatzitza to do with the behemah, the animal, and the chatzitza on your friend. Why do we need that? Why do we need all three? So he says like this: Diashmin and kli. If I only knew about that, you're not allowed to stand on your utensil. Mishum delav de mina de basaninu. It's not the same flesh. Meaning, it's not flesh. A utensil is an item. It's a utensil. It's not flesh. So therefore, that's why it's a chatzitza. Av the behemah, but an animal has flesh. So I'm going to say it's not a chatzitza. V'yashvina behemah. Now, if you're going to tell me it's an animal, because it's not a human being. It has to be a human being. But your friend, he's a human being. So I would say it's not a chatzitza. So tzricha, that's why you needed all three. So you needed all three. You need the utensil, the animal, and a human being. Tanya, we learned in the Raita. Rabbi Eliezer says, Raglo achat ala kli, raglo achat ala ritzpa. Raglo achat ala heaven, raglo achat ala ritzpa. What happens? He's got one leg and one leg. 1 foot is called putting your foot in it. Yeah? You got 1 foot right on the floor, and the other foot on a stone. Or 1 foot on the keli, yes. 1 foot on the keli, and 1 foot on the thing. What's going to happen? So, רואים כל שאילו ינטלו הכלי ותינטל האבן יכול לעמוד על רגלו אחת ויעבוד, עבודתו כשרה. ואם לאו, it all depends, can he stand on 1 foot or not? If I took away the utensil, would he fall, or can he still balance himself and do it on 1 foot? If he could still balance himself and do it on 1 foot, so הוא יכול לעמוד על רגל אחת, yeah? זה בסדר. And if not, disqualified. So by Rabbi Ami, asked Rabbi Ami, Daldela haeven, what happens if one of the stones are actually detached? It's still there on the floor, but it's detached. Now he's standing on the stone, but the stone technically is detached from the floor. So do you tell me now that it's ki'ilu a chatzitza or not? Right? Maul. So heichaden datol lechabra. If he doesn't want to stick it back on, for sure it's going to be a chatzitza. When is the question that you want to come and put it back on? What's halacha? Given the daito lechabra, since you want to put it back on, it's like ki'ilu that it's already put back. Or dilma maybe hashtam yato. Right now it's detached. So Rabba Zute by lahachi. So Rabba Zute, he asked the question by Rabbi Yami. Nekra even v'amad v'mkoma mao. What happens right now if he was oker, the Evan, and he stood in his place? What's halacha? What are we asking for? Ki Kadish David. When David HaMelech came and was Mekadesh, the Makom Bet HaMikdash, he sanctified it. Did he do the upper one? Or maybe until the bottom? Meaning when he was Mekadesh the floor, he wasn't Mekadesh just the top. Hu Kidesh Ad Lamata. Right? All the way into the bottom. You have to, you could ask this about the entire Azara. So says the Gemara, he says, no, he sanctified everything ad lamata, ad ateon. David HaMelech, King David came, and he sanctified it ad lamata.
What does that mean?
He sanctified the karka, the ground, until everything until the bottom, until the bis. Right? So then that's the question. Is it normal to stand in such a way or not? That's the question. So what is the Gemara answer? Teku. Yeah, we don't have an answer. Fine. Kibel bismol pasul. What happens if right now you came and you accepted the blood with the left hand? So it's going to be pasul. The Shimon says it's going to be kosher. When it says you have to take the blood with your finger, and then it says velakach, he took it. From there we learn it has to be with the yamin. Right? Why? Because b'derech klal, 100%. You're right. So it says, so it has to be with the right hand. Why? Because basically it says anytime that it says etzba, it's always the right finger. Right? It's right. So when it says right, etzba v'lakach, you have to take it with the right hand. Right? Be'etzba v'natan, so you have to give it also with the right hand. Doesn't say the hand, the finger. So kibel b'smol kasher. So he said, listen, if you're going to accept it with the left hand, it's going to be kosher. Rabbi Shimon, according to Rabbi Shimon, manafshach. If you hold the gezerah shava, kilona emra yad b'kabbalah, what do I care? And if you don't hold the gezerah shava, when it says the yad, what do I care anyway? So Rav Yudah Lulam Lele, he doesn't hold the gezerah shava, and this is what it means to say. V'chi nemar yad yamin b'kabbalah. Why does it say b'kabbalah yad yamin? Since it doesn't say mefurash, so therefore you could do it with your left hand, and it's still going to be kosher. Samale Rabba says, Yachi, if so, if you know netina nami. So even when you're going to give it, also it's going to be the same halacha. Yeah, it's also going to be the same halacha. So now he comes and he says like this. So Amar le Rabba. Rabba says, Yachiv, so even the giving on the blood of the mizbech should be the same thing. There's going to be kosher. Meaning, why did you say that only the accepting the blood is kosher with the left hand? Even the placing of the blood on the mizbech should be kosher with the left hand, according to you, Rabbi Shimon. Meaning, if you hold everything has to be done with the right hand, so fine. Also the accepting and also the sprinkling. But if you're going to tell me that you could accept it with the left hand, so even the sprinkling should be done with the left hand, also still be kosher.
Got it backwards.
The what? So I stand vindicated that we were correct, that we said that in the Havamina. This is now Rabba asking the question. He says, if you're right now going to tell me that you could accept the blood with the left hand, so even the Nitina should also be permitted with the left hand. Furthermore, the Chilele Shimon Gezerah Shava, he doesn't hold of a Gezerah Shava, for sure he does. But Tanya, we learned in a Braita, Rabbi Shimon Omer, Kol Makom Shadem Yad, and Al Yamin. It's by Yamin. Whenever it says Yad, it's always the right hand. Whenever it says Yamin, always the right hand. Meaning, if it's not written in the left hand, automatically it's the right hand. If it's not written which finger, automatically it's the right finger. So says the Gemara Rava, no. He does hold the Gezerah Shava. The Haki doesn't mean to say. Yad, when it says Yad beKabbalah, Yad beKabbalah, Ela beEtzba, Yivshal Kabbalah beEtzba. So he says like this: you can never accept the blood with a finger. It has to be a hand, but it doesn't say the hand. So the fact that it doesn't say the hand, that's why if you accept it with the left hand, it's going to be kosher. That's why. Because you can't accept with the etzba. You need a hand. Why didn't it say hand? So therefore, if you do it with the left hand, it's also kosher. But really, man, if it doesn't, usually yad is always right hand. Usually etzba is always right finger. Right? That's always. But you can hold it. No, you can't hold it with one finger. That's why. So Amarle Rav, I don't know if you saw the video. You can't hold with one finger. It's impossible. Yeah. So Amarle Rav Sama bered Ravashi leRavina. Efshad yavile ozen lisfat mizrak unkabele. Says, yeah, but maybe you could do, right, like a type of like it's like a handle type of thing, exactly. Then maybe there you could do it with a finger, with one finger, right? A type of a So he answers, Elam and Abaye. Right, and he grabs it. So he says, no, Mikra nidrash lefanav lacharav. No, do you go before and afterwards? Meaning, can I come and make a drasha from beforehand to afterwards, between two different things, right? So therefore, that's what. So Amar Abaye says, Had Rabbi Eliezer ben Shimon mapka madavua. It's coming to exclude from his father. It's coming to exclude also from the Rabbanan. The time we learned to write Rabbi Eliezer ben Shimon men. Kol makom shneimar etzba ben mekabla nishina bekabla pasul benitina kasher. If he changed in the Kabbalat Adam, it's still going to be kosher. It's going to be pasul. But if he changed in the Tinat Adam and he gave it with the left hand, it's going to be kosher. Pasul, Kabbalah kasher. So heicha ne'emar etzba b'netina. Where does it say etzba by netina? Tichtiv v'lakachta midam apar v'nizal kol mizbeach be'etzbaecha. You can put it with your finger. So the pasul goes right before it, but not on the previous, meaning not on the thing before that. Okay? So therefore, he's saying when it says betzbecha, it's only on the tinat adam and not kabbalat adam, meaning only on the placing of the blood and not the receiving of the blood, right? And he holds like Rabbi Elazar lacharav, that on afterwards. So therefore, he comes and he says, but the Rabbi Yochanan says in Yochanan, etzba v'kiuna ele b'yamin. So he says now, whenever it's written also etzba and kiuna, it's always the right hand. It's always the right. I would have thought to say tarte, but then you need two different things. Right? We learn it from Mitzvah, just like it's written that he has to put his right finger. There it does say the right finger. It's Haimanit. It does say it explicitly which one. Right? The Tzanana we learned, Kamatz small pasul, it's going to be pasul. But rather Rava comes and he says, or etzba or keuna, or etzba or keuna. So Amar le Abaye comes and he says, are you at Rabbi Barchana yet? Abaye says, remember the kevesh is a ramp. Keves is a sheep. Right? They're two different things. So when you're taking up the evarim to the kevesh, it's written Kohen has to do it. And it's written Vikriva Kohen et akol v'ktira mizbecha. Hamar more. So lachat evarim lekevesh. Utzrana we learned. Harregel shel yamin bismolo betor alachutz, which means that you're going to put the right on top of the left leg, right? And the betorah is always going to be on the outside. So you serve from here. One second. So therefore, we're going to learn from here that you could take up the limbs to the mizbeach with the left hand. We're in a baye, Richard. One more time. We were always talking about the right take precedence over the left, and now all of a sudden we're saying that you could take up the left over the right towards the mizbeach when we're talking about, right? I just don't know. Answer the Gemara ki amrinan o etzba o keuna, v'davar me'akev kapara dumia de mitzora. So when it says o, so therefore those things are going to be dafka with something which is me'akev the kapara, something that impedes the atonement, just like a mitzora, that it has to be done with the right hand. So therefore, in such a but taking the limbs, it doesn't impede the. What if they didn't bring up the limbs at all? You still have the kapara, you still have the atonement. Right. So therefore, it doesn't matter if you did it with the left hand. It's okay. That means you took precedence over the left, over the right. It doesn't matter. Vare Kabbalah, says the Gemara, Kabbalah. It says kiuna, and it's devar me'akev kapara. So how could you come and tell me now that Rabbi Shimon says that if you did it with the left hand, it's kosher? So answers Gemara, Rabbi Shimon tartebay. He says you need two things. You need etzba and kihuna. Only we have two words, etzba and kiuna, does it impede the right. But if not, you could even do it with the left hand. So mi by Rabbi Shimon tarte, does he yell that you actually need both? But tell him we learn to the right. Rabbi Shimon omer, kol makom shneimar yad eno yamin. Whenever it says yad, you only need the right. Etzba eno yamin. It's only going to be yamin. Etzba lo baya kiuna lo baya etzba. He says when it says etzba, you don't need. Right? What does that mean? You don't need. But when you have the word kiuna does teach you that you need the etzba. So what's going on over here exactly? Right? That means when it says etzba by itself, you don't need a kohen davka in order to teach you about the right. But when it says kiuna by itself, you do need the word etzba to teach you that it has to be done with the right. So one more time, etzba means the right, and I don't need the word kohen at all. But when it says the word kohen, right, I do need the word etzba to teach you that it has to be with the right. According to Reb Shimon. Yes, this is Reb Shimon. Ve'ela Rabbi Shimon. Yeah? So he says ve'ela kohen lamali. So what do I need the word kohen then? So he says b'kiunan, to teach you that it has to be that they're wearing the kohen clothing. So says the Gemara, the sprinkling of the blood. It's not written only keuna. and you just told me that means one more time. What did you just tell me? It says kiuna. In order for you to know the right, what does it need to have? Also etzba. Here it's written only kiuna, and it says here that it's going to be, if you sprinkle it with the left, it's pasul. Why? According to Rabbi Shimon, it's not written etzba. We just said, we made an assumption. When it says kiuna, it has to have etzba. When it says etzba, it does not have to have kiuna. The etzba in itself is already enough to teach you right hand. Kiuna is not enough in itself. You need also to have the etzba. So Abaye says, Palig bebraita, he argues in the braita. The Tani Kabir b'smol pasul, B'shuma machshiv. Sarak b'smol pasul, Rabbi Shimon also is machshiv. He says it's kosher if you sprinkle with the left hand. Elahada Amar Rava, but rather the Rava says, Yad yad lekmitza, regel lechalitza, ozen l'ritzia, lamali. What do I need? Meaning we made 3 different gzera shavas to teach you that has to be with the right. Kmitza, we made a gzera shava yad has to be with the right hand. Regel chalitza. When they do chalitza, when the husband passes away without children, they do chalitza. That's with the right foot. Ozen. They do the piercing of the ear for an eved that wants to stay until 50 years until the yovel. They pierce the right ear. Why do I need the gzera shava? So he says, you learn it from Rabbi Chana v'Yavka. So he says, chad lekometz v'chad lekiddush kometz. He says we need one pasuk on the kmitza, the davodav the kmitza, and one is the kiddush kometz inside the kli sharet, that it also has to be done with the right hand, right? And according to Shimon, then he's going to continue, and we'll continue this on Thursday with Zot Hashem.